Hello everyone, today's video we're going to talk about the chakra system. Chakras can basically be explained like the soul or the energy body that we have. So if we have an x-ray, we can view the skeletal system, we can see the bone and all of its structure. We have a heat map, we can go and we can sense the areas of high energy concentration. We can visualize and see that, and we can see that a lot of that tends to concentrate around the spinal region. We also understand that a lot of the functions in the body depend upon the spinal system, and that's where the main chakra system is relayed, which is basically just like it's a map of the spiritual body. And we don't have tools or technology to actually see that today, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And to me, it's like, just because you can't see something, well, you're going to limit your understanding of something if you say, well, I can't, the technology isn't here today, so I can't see it for myself. Before x-rays, though, people understood they had bones. So people a long time ago understood they had a soul, and they were able to go and map and see these systems and see where the energy is concentrated. But there's no even reason for just blind belief, because as I explain this system, you can go along and you can visualize and see, sorry for the cat, the components of the chakra system relate exactly with different parts of our body. And you can see that where these energy systems are concentrated is areas of high activity. For instance, our thinking comes from the third eye, our speaking comes from the throat. Our heart chakra, that's where we open up for love, and the stomach, that's where we burn down our food, transform it into energy that we can use for physical prowess, for endeavors that financial endeavors that require determination and skill and long hours, things like that. The energy comes from here. And again, where's the food being digested? The stomach. Right? Makes sense. And then as you go down, the Svadhisthana chakra represents desire for sex and relationships in the family unit. And there's really not much explanation to be said there. You can see where the energy is concentrated. And right below that right towards like again, apologize for the cat, where the video won't show, the root chakra. And again, you can go and that is something that has to do with survivability, things like that. A lot of our survival tactics, eliminating the waste and everything in our body, is a root chakra function. This also has to do with things like food, and there's a plethora of things. I'll end up doing a video just on root chakra. I went ahead and just had a quick overview of the chakras and how that relates to the physical components in the body, and now I'm going to go from the bottom up, and I'll explain the more like spiritual, like you can think it more like mental body, or having to do with the mind, or the soul, aspects of the self. So for instance, we'll start at the root chakra. The root chakra has to do with grounding, has to do with earth. If somebody is not feeling stable, they're not feeling grounded, they don't have support, this is an imbalance in the root chakra, right? And if somebody has this imbalance, they really can't proceed to the higher levels, which in terms just means, if you look at for instance, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's very, very similar. As you can see, the hierarchy of needs of survival is first and foremost. And so this has to do with, things like eating and sleeping, and also has to do with things like, having a stable life, like job, where you're safe to support yourself. Doesn't mean you need to have a job to balance the root chakra. It just means as long as you are being provided for financially to the point of survivability. And that's important to distinguish. That's the point of survivability. Financial to the support of pure survivability. No luxuries, anything like that. The Svadhisthana chakra, second one, is located right below the navel, and this one has to do with sexual desire, the desire to reproduce, the desire for relationships, like physical relationships, just even hugging people, hand holding. It also has to do with comforts, like having blankets and pillows. You don't need blankets and pillows to survive, but it makes you a lot comfortable. So it really has to do with comfortability. So if somebody's not comfortable, it could even be some emotional distress. It could be addiction issues, something that is making this person not feel balanced, but it's nothing to do with survivability. It's something that's making them feel off. And you can almost feel it in your stomach, like that anxious kind of feeling. Sometimes people kind of notice that in their lower stomach, and it can be seen as, there's some turmoil here. But properly balanced, that's kind of the sense of the energy is able to go upwards, you have survivability, and you have, your relationships, you have, a family unit, you don't have to, you're not seeking to rely on other people. And at the same time, a balanced chakra here could mean you're completely remote and in some isolate place in some mountains somewhere. And that's because they balance to the point where they feel they don't need to be surrounded by others. But there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just to say to not, take advantage of relationships and things like that. Those types of things would cause an imbalance. If you have bad relationships, people you can't trust. Moving on to the third chakra. This one has to do with power. This Manipura chakra. This has to do with power in the sense of, physical power. Like, this is where digestion is happening. The fire, the heat is coming from digestion. This is where this is where the chakra is about. You're able to run the extra mile, push the heavier weight. It also has to do with financial success as well. And the difference between the financial aspect of the root chakra is the root chakra means, you have a job and you're paying the bills and you're fine. But, balancing this chakra, this has to do with having wealth to the point, you can buy luxuries, things you don't need, vacations, all of the rest. But when you go to the heart chakra, this is something that can be very dangerous, of course, because somebody has wealth and all this, and their heart chakra is in balance. You realize how it's something centrally located here. It makes somebody very, very powerful, especially in a physical space, but their heart is not balanced out. This is why you have people with corruption. They can have all these chakras balanced here, but if their heart chakra is not balanced, then that's why we have all these billionaires that aren't the best people, doing self-serving, doing things for themselves. It's because they have this balanced up, but it's just this is a wrong way to put it, but in a sense, just overflowing with that in the sense of ego. This relates to ego as well. So overwhelming amounts of ego that drives people to do these things. These are all chakras located in the physical plane. That means that when you reach astral constructs, higher realms, things like that, like where people say, when you pass on, you become a soul. Like if you imagine a soul body, it's not going to have the need for food. It's not going to have the need for sleep. It's not going to have the need for comforts or blankets or pillows. It's not going to have the need for money or wealth. What is it going to buy, right? It's non-physical in nature. So the heart chakra, this has to do with love, unconditional love, loving everyone. There's multiple different types of love. I'll probably just make an entire video about that, but it seems pretty self-explanatory. Having love, maybe towards someone, having a balance so your love isn't hurting others. There's different types like there's unconditional love, there's love for a significant other, there's love for like an animal. All these different types of things deal with the heart chakra. The third chakra is communication, what I've been abundantly using this entire video, and this has to do with speech, and it has to do with communication, and it also kind of deals with speaking the truth and protecting the truth of things, because sure, someone can speak, right, but they're speaking mistruths, then the throat chakra isn't quite balanced because they don't even know they don't even know their own truth some of the times. A lot of people, they don't realize the true things about what they do in themselves, and this can be seen as an imbalance in the third chakra. Then we can go to the third eye, the Ajna chakra. This has to do with thought. Has to do with imagination, like you're reading a book and you're imagining the story in your mind. There's a lot more that this deals with. It's like a little antenna almost to us, so it's like a form of communication. And then there's fluoride that calcifies it and makes it so that senses you cover something up. It's like taking a thing of Elmer's glue and squeezing it up and making it come up to the top, and then it like crystallizes over and whatnot. And then you're like trying to use the glue, but you can't. That's kind of what it's like when it's calcified. You're trying to get the glue out, but it won't work. So there's other methods to uncalcifying that really is just like, hey, like move to Florida or Utah. They're taking out the fluoride from the waters, or get a good filter. Because it has to do with dreaming as well, and so that's the thing. Like you will realize your dreams will become more profound, more lucid, especially when you stop using fluoride toothpaste, which is like, oh, let's use this right before we go to bed when we're gonna dream, and then the fluoride, it supposedly calcifies the pineal gland, which helps with dreaming, and then people don't remember their dreams as much. So it's like I swear, like stop using fluoride for like 2 weeks, and you'll have very, very lucid dreams, like crazy. And then you'll be like, I never want to touch fluoride again. Like the dreams are too miraculous. I'm sorry. And then lastly, it is true, but it's just funny. Then lastly, there's the crown chakra. And the crown chakra has to do with existence, has to do with so many things that are profound. Connections to ancestors, connections to other realities, all the rest. It's the gateway, it's everything, but it's also the place where communication happens from above. That's why they say, God is above, God is in the sky, like in Christianity. Really, we're talking about up here, and the divine communication comes in this area. It's like an aura. Like you can see pictures of Jesus, and he's got this big like kind of circle around his head like that. That's the crown chakra, and almost every Hindu deity has that circle around, represents the crown chakra. So that's all the chakras. I might remake this video at another time in more depth and with more energy, and I'll probably make videos going into each one of the chakras as well. Then probably after that I'll just do like another review video, because who knows how many views this video will reach at first. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for the next video. I'll be talking about the root chakra next in more depth and detail. I'll be talking about an imbalanced root chakra, how to balance it, different techniques, mantras that can be used, which is just different like mantras, like a repetitive word. That's not the right way to say it. It's like repeating a phrase, a special phrase or sound, and those sounds basically will, it's like channeling that type of energy. Like let's say words have energy to them. If I were to say trash or majesty, like if I were to call you majesty, how would you feel? If I were to call you trash, there's energy to those words. So there are certain words or phrases that have specific energy to them that's been curated to basically go and hone in on these chakras. So you'll basically kind of be met with this, kind of sense of like, if you use these mantras, like say in the morning, your day will kind of be led and guided in a sense. Your mind's in this state where it's heard this phrase over and over again, and that vibration is like hitting that chakra basically. And even if you just think about it, you can think about that feeling or that vibration, and it'll help you with your day. It'll help you be more conscious about what you're doing, and even just remembering that mantra during the day. Like maybe you're trying to be like, I'm gonna manage my finances. Like you're in a state where you have money, but you're like, I want to save more. I want to, buy a house someday, right? There could be a mantra that you chant just for that. So you're going to be going on, you just say this one phrase over and over again, and that will basically bring to you, it will elevate you to, it'll help alleviate, and it'll bring yourself to a state to be more receptive to ways of saving money and making money, if that's your goal, to save and make money. Chanting this will basically just say, let's say you're in a situation where you very well, you could get a job interview. You could or could not get this job. Chanting a mantra like this with practice and over time can bring you to a point where you have that confidence within you to nail that interview. It's not necessarily about bringing in physical things and saying these things are going to manifest towards me. That's really not the right way to think about it. It's how can I change myself? Not change, but how can I most efficiently use this body to achieve what it is that I set out to achieve? And everything else can be seen as distraction. If you have a goal, everything else you see is a distraction. So if you're able to really hone in on your inner world, really understand what it is what you want, balance out the system, find out what motivates you, who is it that you love, what what is your truth, what is it that you want to communicate to the world. Once you really understand these things, then these opportunities that you seek of wealth opportunities or whatever it is that you want to achieve, that you truly want to achieve, will start coming to you, because you're going to crystal clearly see, this is what I want. So then everything will just start lining up, and you'll be like, okay, I wanted this job, and I'm chanting this mantra with the intention that I want this job. And then you start seeing things. You start seeing, oh, there's this course that would help me with this job maybe. Or, like maybe it's like a finance course and you're trying to get into some sales role or something. Instances like that. But that is all for today's video. Went on a bit of a tangent. This is just going to be like a little short like PS message at the end, I guess. Maybe I'll just convert it into another video short. But thank you again for watching for the second time. Jai Mahakal.